Seen perfect coated peanuts before? Prepare to be amazed. I will show you how to make this perfectly coated peanut that impress every time. I have done it again and again, and now it's your turn. Don't miss out. Learn how to make this jaw-dropping peanut at home. Ready? Let's dive in. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Esther Uti and it's great to have you here. If you are new or a returning viewer, welcome. Today we are making delicious, crunchy, tasty coated peanuts that is perfect for snacking or gifting. These crunchy treats are easy and customizable to your taste. But first, let's go over the tools and ingredients you will need. A cooling tray, a baking tray, 3 measuring spoons, 1/4 teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon, 1 teaspoon, a digital measuring scale, a mixing bowl, baking paper, a whisk or fork, a flour sieve, 2 medium bowls for dry and wet ingredients, 2 spoons for dry and wet ingredients, glove, a wooden spoon, a frying spoon, a colander or sieve, a washing bowl, a frying pan or deep pot, and kitchen paper towels. Some of these tools are optional, so if you don't have them, don't worry, you can still make amazing peanuts at home. Now, let's get into the ingredients you will need. Raw peanuts, all-purpose flour, granulated sugar, vegetable oil for deep frying, salt, eggs, water, coconut extract or flavor, vanilla extract or flavor, milk powder or flavor, baking powder, and onion. Some of these ingredients are optional, so don't stress if you don't have them. You can still get amazing results. Others have a range, so you can adjust to your taste. If you're just starting out, it's best to follow this recipe as it is for the best results. Then tweak them to your liking in the next batch. Oh, and to clarify, peanuts and groundnuts are the same thing, just different names. Alright, we're all set with the ingredients and tools. Now let's dive into making this perfectly coated peanuts. We will love this recipe. First, let's sort out our peanuts. Separate the good ones from the bad ones. Keep the whole undamaged peanuts with the skin. Here's a quick tip. As we are picking the peanuts, we can weigh them at the same time to ensure you are picking the right amounts. This way, you won't end up with too few or too many. 510 grams is what we will need for today's recipe. This is what the bad ones look like. Discard the bad whole and half groundnuts. The good half peanuts can be used for other purposes. Once we've sorted the peanuts, it's time to head over to the flour. We need to sift our flour. Sifting is crucial, especially when buying locally. Sometimes flour can leave unwanted particles in it, like this grain of rice I found in mine. Sifting helps remove impurities in our flour and ensure a smooth texture in our final products. And that's it for our dry ingredients. Nothing else should be added to the flour. Next up, let's measure our sugar. I'm using 145 grams of sugar for today's recipe. A quick shopping tips for those of us buying locally here in Nigeria. Here's a gauge of what you buy when you go to your local market. For peanuts, purchase 1 derica. For flour, purchase about 1.5 dericas. For sugar, purchase about half derica or 2 makeups will be perfect. This will help you buy the right amount without overbuying or underbuying. And don't worry if you have a little left over. It's always better to have a little bit excess than too little. And don't forget, when you get home, make sure to measure the ingredients using the spoon and scale measurements. Let's talk about the eggs. We need at least 115 grams of liquid. If the eggs don't add up to 115 grams, just add a little water to make it up. Let's move on to preparing the wet ingredients. Into the egg bowl, add in the measured sugar and stir to combine. Next, add the salt. Make sure to level it with a table knife or flat object to avoid altering the recipe. Stir everything well to combine. Now, add in the milk flavor or powder. I'm using 35 grams for today's recipe. Stir everything well to combine. Now we have our wet ingredients, dry ingredients, and peanuts ready. We mix the sugar, salt, and milk flavor into the eggs before washing the peanuts so they can have time to dissolve properly. The rest of the wet ingredients will be added once the peanuts are completely cooled and ready to mix. Next up, let's line our baking tray. If you are sun drying, feel free to skip this step. You won't need the baking paper. Now let's move on to getting these peanuts washed up at the sink. Add water and scrub the raw peanuts between your palms, then discard the water. Repeat this process about 3 to 4 times. Then add about half tablespoon of salt. This is my method for disinfecting, not for taste. Scrub the peanuts with the salt, then rinse them 3 to 5 times until the water runs clear. Then transfer the washed peanuts onto the lined baking tray and spread them out. You can choose to dry the peanuts under the sun or in the oven. Today, I'll be using the grill of my oven to dry the peanuts. I'm placing the baking tray on the first rack and setting the oven to high heat. We are not cooking the peanuts, just drying them. You will need to stir the peanuts periodically. Start by checking after 3 minutes, then again after 2 minutes, making a total of 5 minutes. The first stirring should be the longest, so come back at the 7th minute mark. Continue stirring at 9 minutes and again at 11 minutes. Once the peanuts are dried, transfer them to a cooling tray and leave them to cool completely. While the peanuts cool, let's discuss the coating process. For even coating, a round bowl with a good grip works best. As the peanuts rotate in the bowl, they get evenly coated. Now that our peanuts are completely cooled, let's transfer them into the mixing bowl. As I do this, I'm picking out any bad or half peanuts I can find. In total, we pick the peanuts 3 times, once before washing, once after drying, and again just before coating. Technically, we need 500 grams of peanuts, but we use 510 grams. The extra 10 grams is just to account for any bad peanuts or any one that might fall off during mixing. It's my way of ensuring we still end up with close to 500 grams at the end of the process. Now, let's mix in the rest of the wet ingredients. Into the egg mixture, add the baking powder, making sure it's leveled. Then stir to combine. Next, measure in the vanilla extract of flavor and the coconut extract of flavor. Stir until everything is well incorporated. And that's it. We are done with the wet ingredients. Now, let's head straight to coating the peanuts. Let's give the wet mixture a good whisk before we begin. Get your spoons ready for both the wet and dry ingredients. Sprinkle about 2 heaped tablespoons of flour into the bowl of the peanuts and rotate to mix in. This mixing can be quite noisy, so I will mute it during the video. Next, add about 1.5 tablespoons of the egg mixture and rotate to mix until everything is well combined. I prefer adding the flour first because it creates a base that helps the wet mixture coat the raw peanuts evenly, as you can see with no flour left in the bowl. Now, let's return to the dry ingredients. Evenly distribute the flour over the peanuts and rotate to mix. Notice how the peanuts look floury but not overly powdery. That's a good sign that it's time to add the wet ingredients. We will keep alternating between the dry and wet ingredients. But the key to a well-coated peanut is knowing when to add each. It's not about going back and forth constantly. It's about timing and patience. Patience in adding the mixtures in batches and to vigorously mix, which requires a bit of shoulder and elbow work. Right now, I have added the dry ingredients, but I'm not adding the wet mixture just yet. I'm adding more flour because the first batch of dry ingredients got absorbed during mixing, which means the coating is still wet. I added flour for the third time in a row, and once the surface still has some flour left, I'll go in with the wet mixture. Rotate and toss and heat to mix. The peanuts tend to stick together once the egg mixture is added, but adding the flour helps separate them. Ensure no peanuts are stuck at the bottom of the bowl each time you add the flour. And we are halfway through the mixing process. Just look at how well coated they are already. We are nearly at the end, with just a little egg mixture left in the bowl. Since it's tricky to get the rest out with a spoon, I will sprinkle some flour into the peanut bowl but won't fully mix it yet. Then I will add some flour-coated peanuts into the egg mixture, and using the spoon, I will gently mix around the edges to avoid damaging the raw coated peanuts, as they are delicate at this stage. I will continue this process, adding more flour-coated peanuts and mixing gently until the peanuts move freely in the bowl. After that, I will toss and heat and toss again until everything is well combined. If you find any peanuts that are stuck together or clumped at the bottom of the bowl, don't just separate and leave them exposed. Separate and seal them by expanding or dragging the coating over the exposed peanuts. Then press to ensure they are fully coated and not left uncovered. If the peanuts still appear a little wet, add a small amount of flour at a time and mix until it's fully absorbed. Make sure the end result isn't floury or powdery. And we are done. The remaining flour is why the measurement can vary. Sometimes you need more, sometimes less. But now we have perfectly raw coated peanuts with a smooth finish. Your coated peanuts should have a smooth texture, neither wet nor dry. You should see tiny flakes of flour on the surface, but the peanuts shouldn't feel powdery or heavy with flour. That's how you know they are perfectly coated and ready for frying. Excess flour can make the oil dirty as it turns black during frying. Aim for a good balance, not too wet nor too powdery. To keep this video concise, I will cover more tips and tricks in an upcoming video. If you've gained a couple of insights in this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you stay updated. Now, it's time for the final process, frying. Turn on your heat source and set it to medium. Place the frying pan or deep pot over it and pour in your oil of choice. Then toss in a dash of onion for extra flavor. Make sure the oil is hot enough before adding the peanuts, but not too hot to avoid burning. To test the oil, drop in one raw coated peanut. If it bubbles and rises to the surface, the oil is ready. Oops, we lost track of that one. No worries, let's try another. Carefully add the raw coated peanuts to the oil, frying in small batches so they don't overcrowd. Stir gently with a wooden spoon, as the peanuts are delicate at this stage. Stir periodically until they turn a light brown. Watch closely for the color change. Once your peanuts start turning light golden brown, switch to a frying spoon and stir continuously until they reach that perfect golden color. Aim for a nice even golden brown, not too dark or too light. As soon as you hit that ideal color, remove the peanuts from the oil quickly to prevent them from darkening further. Drain off as much oil as you can, then transfer them onto a sieve lined with paper towels to absorb any excess oil. Just look at these beauties. Ever seen peanuts this perfectly coated before? Take a moment to admire them. Let's get to frying the next batch. Test the oil to make sure it's hot enough and toss in the onion for that extra burst of flavor. Add the raw coated peanuts to the hot oil and give them a good stir. Don't add any water to the mixing bowl, just set it aside for now. Keep stirring the peanuts while they are frying. Back to the mixing bowl. Quickly scrape off any remaining coating in the bowl. Mold the crumbs into 3 to 5 pieces, depending on how many you have. Then get back to the peanuts on heat ASAP. As the peanuts cook, continue stirring to prevent burning. When they turn brown, switch to a frying spoon. We use the frying spoon now because the peanuts are firm enough to avoid getting markings from it, unlike earlier when they were delicate. Keep stirring with the frying spoon until you reach that perfect golden color. Once done, transfer them to a sieve to drain and cool. The first batch is already cooling, so keep it nearby to compare and match the color. Aim for the same golden hue to ensure they blend perfectly. Next, let's talk about the oil. Notice how it's gotten dirty after frying the second batch. That's because I poured all the peanuts in at once, which introduced particles into the oil. When I added the first batch, I used my hands to pick them, keeping the oil cleaner. To make your oil clean, try adding the peanuts by hand or use a sieve with large holes to reduce particles. Just a heads up, the sieve might leave marks on the peanuts, so hand picking is your best bet. If you're worried about the oil getting dirty, you might want to skip frying the extra snack. It can mess up the oil quickly. But don't worry, if it does, I have a simple cleaning trick that doesn't involve corn flour. So stay tuned for that. Quickly scrape off any remaining coating in the bowl. Mold the crumbs into 3 to 5 pieces, depending on how many you have, and press them into flat shapes between your palms. Reduce the heat to low, then add in the molded crumbs into the oil and fry over low heat. They cook quickly, so this should take about 1 to 3 minutes. Stir continuously with a wooden spoon while flipping in the process. Once they start to turn brown, switch to a frying spoon and keep stirring until they reach a deeper golden color. The extra snacks are incredibly tasty and I always look forward to them each time I make these coated peanuts. When they are ready, quickly transfer them to the sieve with the peanuts to drain and turn off the heat. Then move everything to the cooling tray, spreading them out just like we did the first batch. Now pick out and discard any remaining onion as we don't need them anymore. The extra snacks are best enjoyed hot. Sorry they didn't make it to the final presentation as I couldn't resist. Let them cool completely before storing or packaging. While the peanuts are cooling, I thought it would be fun to share something with you all. I have made this peanut recipe so many times over the years, and I even have some footage to show you. See those little dots of flour on the surface? That's the sweet spot right there. This is natural light, so the color you see is what you should aim for. For an attractive look, go for this golden brown goodness or a little darker. And voila! Here they are, all packed and ready to snack on. Shout out to my girl Gold for sending me this behind the scenes. Thank you, girl. I love you, little sis. Mwah! I will go into more details about ingredient choices, substitutes, and tips in another video linked at the end. This will help you customize your peanuts for your next batch. You can still hear the crunch as I toss them around. And here's the final result. Nice and ready to be gifted. Now that we've had a little trip down memory lane, let's jump into what we did today. The peanuts are cold, so it's time to pack and bottle them. And look at the final result, guys. These are absolutely stunning. I mean, come on. These are some of the most beautiful, golden, crunchy, flavorful peanuts you will ever see. Just look at them. Seriously, they are perfection. I can't get enough of them. So crunchy, so fresh, and just bursting with flavor. And that's it. Delicious homemade coated peanuts, perfect for snacking and gifting. You've got to try it, believe it. Seriously, they might just make you question your previous snack choices. After you've made these beauties, let me know how it goes. Did you nail it on your first try? Was it as amazing as I promised? Alright, I hope I've been able to convince you and not to confuse you that you can make the best looking, best tasting peanuts the first time and every time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. But before you go, take a look at these beauties one last time to brighten your day. Happy baking! Don't forget to check out the recommended videos for even more coated peanuts tips and my oil draining trick without the use of cornstarch. Can't wait to see you next time. Bye for now.